Welcome to another edition of the replay where we try to make your day. I'm your host, Chivalry, and we're back again this week on this fabulous Thursday here to talk about what's been transpiring today with this NBA trade, amongst some other things we want to get into with these this coaching carousel, these new hires, as well as talk about African American History Month, where we're talking about Chivalry this evening. Chivalry, is Chivalry dead? And if it's not dead, then can it be revived? So I'm your host once again, Jabril Rashad, and coming to the stage, you know, it's my guys. I got my man Daryl Alexander, DA, the G. What it do, family?
What's up? What's up? What's going on? What's up?
You got
America.
It. Then I got my guy Action Jackson from Nebraska, none other than that hard-hitting NFL former free safety, Mr. Tim Jackson. What it do, my brother?
What's going on, my brother? Throwing them bones.
You back again, man. This is twice in 1 week, man. We starting something here, man. We starting something here.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
absolutely.
about.
But look here, man. We got a little bit to cover this evening, man. Regarding what's been taking place today with these hires, new hires in the NFL, some Super Bowl talk, as well as the Dallas Mavericks and these NBA trades. So let's get into that right now, because I was kind of getting it late, a little bit later than I had anticipated. But I thank you for shouting that out to me. And we see where the Dallas Mavericks, man, went and required P.J. Washington from the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets, yeah. I don't even keep up with them that much.
Yeah, Charlotte Hornets. Good job.
The Charlotte Hornets, yeah. The Charlotte Hornets, man, they went and got P.J. Washington, who seems to be, the last few weeks, man, he put together a string of nice scoring games. I think he had about 16 and 22 against Utah, and then another game where he dropped 43. Not sure if he's going to get those kind of shots, with this particular system, especially when you got Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving and Tim Hardaway Jr. on the floor. But let's talk about this trade coming to you first, DA. I don't know, in the question that Tim raised, does this trade move the meter, with you? And if it does, tell me what you think about it. I mean, they had to give up Seth Curry and first round draft pick also in Grant Williams. So what you think about the trade, though, DA?
Man, I give them a B plus A for the trade, because Grant Williams he wasn't living up to the hype or the past. He wasn't that same Celtic player, I should say. So we thought we were going to get, Mavericks thought they were getting this, and they got this. And as far as Seth Curry, he's a journeyman. He's kind of like a throw-in type player when it comes to these trades. They throw him in. He may hit a 3 or 2 every now and then. But I think the Mavericks, they did well, man, because they got not only did they get what's his name? The guy you just named?
P.J. Washington.
Not only did they get Washington, they got a center out of the deal, and he was a 11-point game score and 8 or 9 rebounds a game. So they could use that if he can get that in Dallas, and that's a big plus. So I give him a B plus, almost an A for this trade, because it was something that they needed.
I mean, what you think about TJ? I mean, use all on top of this thing,
you should, I know we got to give grades right then, but sometimes you wonder if you should just give a incomplete until it's actually, you know exactly what they look like, right? But I was looking, because everybody thought about Grant Williams. They thought he was going to mesh well because he plays good defense, right? But when he came and looked at it, because the lineup was so small, he was too short. when everything is kind of condensed, he plays pretty good defense. But Dallas is all spread out when they play in defense, so he had a hard time covering taller guys. They would get their shots off real nice in the paint, so he wasn't that effective on defense as well. So and plus he couldn't help out on defense because he couldn't jump. Now PJ is longer; he got long arms, and he can jump, and he got a good low post game, and he can shoot them corner threes. He actually this year he wasn't shooting as well as he did in the past. But lately, like you just said, Jabril, he actually been shooting a lot better, as well as he got a low post game as well too. So it's gonna be nice. And Daniel Gifford, there's the center that they got from Washington, real nice. He's about 6'10", 6'11", about 6'10", and he has a nice game. He's another pogo stick, another person who can run pick and roll, and he rebounds well. He blocks shots as well too. So now he was starting for Washington. Now he's going to be a backup. And so now the center position is shored up. If you just had one guy, it would be something different. But with two guys, in the front court, now they got a balanced front court. Now you got with Kleber, PJ Washington at the power forward. Now you got Daniel Gafford, and you got the young rookie playing center, right? So now you got those guys positions short up, and they're not doing too bad on the small forward position, the wing spot. So with the guys being, so they're gonna get them shots. So it'll be nice. It's gonna be nice to see if that defense shores up. If that defense shores up, it's gonna move the needle way up. That's the whole key. Will it really change that defense? Because the offense is gonna be fine.
Yeah, they talked about Grant Williams, man. Somebody was talking about how he was standing next to James Harden, and James Harden was actually taller than him, but yet I guess they had him at the small forward, or power forward, or what have you. And I think there's a lot of truth to what you're saying. When they're condensed like playing the zone, then it's not that obvious. But when they spread in the floor, you can definitely see that he's not that difference maker. Although I think Nico Harris thought when they brought him in that he would be, because he played such solid defense for the Boston Celtics. But PJ Washington does provide a little bit more stretch. Like you say, he can't stretch the floor. He can't shoot the three. He's 6'7". He's shown even half court awareness. He's good from the elbow. So I think if nothing else, it does provide at least another score in certain rotations when you maybe take Luka Doncic out of the game or what have you. I don't know if the Mavericks is actually done, because I'm hearing a little bit of rumor, man. I'm hearing a little bit of rumor, and I don't know. Maybe they've already solidified it. Spencer Dinwiddie was sent to the Toronto Raptors in exchange for Dennis Schroeder, but now they're rumored to be letting him go. But of course, he got his pursuers. He got the Lakers coming after him, the 76ers. And man, I never wanted to see Dinwiddie leave, man. I really didn't. Him and
No.
him and Finney Smith, I really didn't want to see them guys leave, because we lost a lot with Finney Smith, man, on that perimeter as far as defensively. So I always felt like, man, if it was a way to get, Finney Smith first, because like I say, what he brings defensively, but if it was a way to get one of them two back, man, now if you take Dinwiddie and bring him off the bench with that second unit, oh my goodness, man. I mean, you don't lose anything now that you added the addition of a PJ Washington. I don't know a lot about the center you're talking about. You say he's from the Washington Wizards?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he started last year.
I don't know a lot about him. Okay. Well,
but he's young.
What is his height?
He's about 6'10", 6'11", and he can jump. He's long. He's a brother, and he can move. He moves well. Got good movement. Plays pretty good defense, and he blocks shots. He's over two. He's like number 3 or number 4 in block shots, at least in the top 5 for sure, around the top 5 for sure in block shots this season. So especially with minutes, he's actually getting. He get about 20, 25 minutes or so. And so he's going to do well coming off the bench and getting a lot of minutes. He's going to really shore that up. That's going to make a big difference. And, whenever the starting center would leave out, man, Dallas would just be a sieve on defense. I mean, it just gave up all kind of layups left and right, easy shots and stuff like that. So that's going to help that. That's what's going to really change. That's why I'm saying the defense should change a lot along with the offense. If they get Spencer Dinwiddie, just like you said, they got 48 hours whenever they buy him out, 48 hours to go through the little thing, but then they buy him out. Man, Dallas may be able to pull him on in.
Man, if they make a push for him, back, man, I'm telling you, man, That'll be a really great pickup, man, to get that scoring production off the bench that they didn't get from Seth Curry. That's Da favorite poker buddy.
Hey,
Oh, you
I
hey,
Mr.
thought that
Poker
was
Buddy, huh?
you notice how Nico got in, made the trade for Williams and Curry, and you notice it wasn't working. He was like, "Hey, let's pull the plug on there. Let's go do something." See how he did that
He did it quick.
mid-season? He did it quick. You sometimes
Hmm.
you got to say, "Man,
right.
this ain't working. We can't wait to next year. Let's pull the plug on this right now and do something different."
You know what I like what he does? I like that actually he keeps making moves until he get it
Mhm.
right.
Yeah,
It's funny. Dallas when they first started, they used to make a bunch of moves until they got it right. They kept moving guys. They were moving a bunch of white guys, but they was moving a bunch of guys because they were moving all them centers, and Rayful France and all them
yeah, yeah.
centers out during their time. So
Yeah, yeah,
they were moving them.
yeah.
They were making moves, but eventually they got the recipe right.
Yeah.
So now I think they're trying to build that recipe, find out what fits best with Kyrie and Luka.
Yeah, well, that shows the mark of a guy who's if there's any analogy I can use to a chef that's in the kitchen, he's trying to find the right spices and the seasoning and saving the taste and all that until you get it right. You're trying to perfect it, right? And
Right.
that Nico Harris kind of reminds me of that because he's trying to perfect something, man, that's going to coexist, that's going to complement Luca and Kyrie Irving when one of them maybe not on the floor. And like you say, Lively, I think he's gonna be, just stay with him and keep going, man, because he's gonna be a
Mm-hmm.
beast. I think he's young, he's a rookie, he's active. I think he's kind of hit that rookie wall just a little bit because they've played what a little about 40 some games,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere up in there. So I think his body got to adjust a little bit more. So this is a good pickup, I think, for the Mavericks to kind of spell some of that just a little bit, because when you get past, and it's about to really pick up, as we all know, because after the All-Star weekend, that's when people start trying to really turn it up a little bit more, jockeying for positions and things of that nature. And you don't want to necessarily have to, play for that play-in if you don't have to. So I think the Mavericks is looking down the road towards that, man. So that was great on Nico Park, man, to go and get another young center at that too, man, that can be actively involved. So, I think man, if there's any like I say, if there's any consolation out of this thing, man, to bring Dinwiddie back, man, and if we was able to get him coming off the bench, I'm telling you, man, that's I think the rest of the NBA, they put the rest of the West anyway on notice that I don't know if it's a team out there, maybe with the exception of Sacramento Kings, if you get a Dinwiddie in terms of that youth coming off the bench, man, and be able to keep up with the Dallas Mavericks scoring. I don't know. Maybe y'all have somebody else in mind, DA, but so far, that what just comes to my mind is the Sacramento Kings.
Yeah, I got you for as probably scoring, like you said. You like moving the ball because Dallas is really pushing that ball like crazy. I would go with for as but playing right now, I would go with the Clippers. Clippers, man, they didn't turn it up a notch lately. They got all the guys healthy for a change. Now, will that be like that in the playoffs?
Nope.
We don't know. But right now, they healthy and man, they the number one seed in the West
Yeah.
right now. So
Yep.
go ahead, Jabril. Or DA, you about to say something?
No, I was
But
just
no, I
agreeing
was
with
just gonna say, but well, no, I was just gonna say, I was just gonna say, but can you trust the Clippers? I know it's
Nope.
the last couple of years
No.
they've been in and out of the lineup and unhealthy and so forth, but I don't know if I
I
could
wouldn't
trust.
trust it.
I don't know if I could trust them though, TJ. I don't know if I
Yeah,
could
I
Nah.
know
trust.
it's hard. They got all the elements though. They got a center. They got Kawhi. They got Paul. They got Westbrook. They got Harden. I
Yeah,
mean, they
but
loaded.
names. Yeah, I mean, when you look
Yeah,
at it when you look at
on
it on
paper.
paper,
Mm-hmm.
you say, wow, I mean, these guys should be, if not headed towards the NBA final, at least to the Western Conference Championships, perhaps this year with that roster, right? But I don't know when it comes to playoff basketball, man. I couldn't mortgage the house on them, because I just don't think that you're gonna get that same production. And we all know how it go when playoff basketball start. Things that happen in the regular season doesn't necessarily translate over into the playoff season. So it's gonna be real interesting to see what happens,
Yeah.
man, in the weeks to come after this All-Star weekend. Because you know, um, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, on paper it sounds good, even
Mm-hmm.
looks good. But man,
You,
I
You
don't
know,
know
you
if they
met.
can if they can get right now in a 7-game series. Let's say they play the Denver Nuggets. Who you like?
Mm. I would like you know, I'm a homer, man. I'm sorry on this one, boy. I'm a homer for the Mavericks. But
Well,
for
no, well, I'm just talking about with TJ. I'm just talking
oh
about if the Clippers play the Denver Nuggets.
oh
I mean, who would you take in a 7-game series?
oh, I'm taking Denver right now until Clippers got to prove it to me in the playoff, and they got to prove they're gonna be healthy. So I'm with you
Right.
all the way. I'm taking Denver until it until the lights turn out. So and then that's the thing that you kind of made a point on. Chemistry means so much it means so much in sports anyway, but it definitely means something special with a small group like basketball is, right? And so how
Right.
guys
Right.
mesh together, how they play off each other, and having the right people to do all the things you need them to do, instead of guys can't even take advantage of their talents. Like whenever you got a point guard with LeBron, right? That point guard is not going to be as effective most of the time because it's either LeBron or him, right? A lot of times. So
Right.
but you can do it if it's just two of them, right? Two guys carrying the ball and they take their little turns. But it's funny because D Wade had to take a back step to LeBron, right? When he was in
Right.
Miami. So LeBron could actually flourish in that way. So it's interesting about the dynamics of a team and how they mesh together. And that's what makes the playoffs so much fun.
So what you think, Da? I mean, who would you like right now? If the Denver Nuggets had to play the Los Angeles Clippers, who would you take in that series?
Oh, that ain't even. I take the Nuggets all the way. Like, wouldn't even be close. And that's because I'm looking at two of them not even being available by the time the playoffs start. It's bound to happen.
About the
It's
Clippers,
it's
right?
Clippers by the time the playoffs start.
Yeah.
Two of them won't even be healthy, and then you can't even really count James Harden when you get in the playoffs because we all know what he's gonna do. He's gonna fly south for the winter like he usually does. I just
Yeah.
like that's just been his MO since he's been in the
That song
league.
say, have you seen him? Tell me,
And
have you seen him? Because man, he is known to take out on you.
who did you who did
MIA.
you who did you compare him to in the NFL?
I was
Was it
saying
Dak?
that
Was it Dak
yeah,
or
Dak.
Lamar Jackson? Which one it
I
was?
was
Was it?
saying it was Dak. I was saying
It,
Okay,
it
at the
was
time
it was
I was
actually
saying it was
Jackson, right? Wasn't it
it was
Jackson?
it was both of them. Ended up being both of them.
Jackson and
Yeah,
Jackson.
yeah, but initially I said
Initially, it
Dak
was Dak.
Prescott is
Hmm.
he is the James Harden of the NFL.
Yeah,
Yeah. Now I think he can co-share that award with Lamar Jackson.
right,
But
right.
anyway, yeah, you was saying what though?
Oh, I was done. I say
The
I
Denver
take the
Nuggets.
Nuggets all day.
Yeah, well, I definitely concur with you guys, man. I mean, there's no way I could go against the Denver Nuggets, especially when you're talking about playoff basketball. And I do think, although they lost, what was that? I think the guy Brown uh, from their lineup from last year. I think he went and got the bag as
Yeah, he
well as he
did.
should have.
And he's a
But
good
it seems
defensive
like,
player.
would you say?
I say he's a
Yeah,
good
yeah, he's
defensive player.
a really good defensive player. Yeah, I think that um they lost a lot with him, but at the same time, I think that the type of coach, man, that they have, he's gonna make those necessary adjustments, and I think you still got perhaps arguably the best basketball player in the NBA thus far. So and then with Mary, man, I mean, what can you say about Mary? So I think they got enough leadership, man, enough collective individuals, man, to still make another run at the title when it's all said and done.
Right.
Um, but we'll see because, like I said, the Mavericks trade, man, was a great, I think, a great pickup for them. Referencing PJ Washington, he's not gonna get those 16, maybe 18 shots a game that he was getting to be able to get to them 20s and 30s and 43-point scoring games. But he don't really have to. I think if he can play a key role in playing good solid defense, man, rebounding and scoring when he have to, man, I think that's a recipe for success because that takes a little bit more off of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Anytime you could do that and keep those guys fresh, for the fourth quarter, man, those stretch minutes. Um, I mean that is a recipe for wins and success. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it. So I don't know, TJ, you got anything else you want to say on this trade, man?
Yeah, I was gonna say the recipe is a good scoring. It's like what your center or your power forward need to be able to score one of them, and they both need to play better defense. So that's one of the things actually real important. If you got two, either a wing and a guard that can score, and they can handle business like dominant like the Mavericks have. Most of the time, you will see like even when you think about Kobe or you think about with Paul Gasol. I don't want to get with Shaq. That's a whole nother level. With Paul Gasol, or you think about Horace Grant back with even with Jordan. They always somebody on that can kind of score a little bit, when the dominant people are your backcourt. So you need at least one that can kind of score and actually play good defense. Not to be great defense, but play good defense. And then you have another one, of course, that's really good on defense, which is help. So I think they got a formula. But will they play well enough? Will they mesh well enough to make it happen?
With them offensive glass, man. I mean, them, as much as Luke and them put up, man, those rebounds are there to be had on the offensive glass. And man, I'm telling you, if he can grab, I could say 10 boards off of there, man, and have some putbacks here and there, and you stretching the guy, bringing him out, because that's exactly what a big man from Denver. He can shoot from the top, pull you out, and he can bag it down. So
do it all.
What'd you say, DA?
He can do it all.
He can do it all, man.
You know what y'all?
He's definitely a triple threat.
One thing we won't have though, we won't have a big, strong body actually when he's in a post. Because Gafford got some little what's calling him, but he ain't really got that big old strong body that actually can handle him on the post. But there ain't too many people can handle him on the post anyway. So Dallas will be a little bit weak in that area, but they'll be long though. So they should be able to score alley-oops over top of them though.
Yep. Well, you know what? Like I say, guys, only time will tell. The NBA All-Star Weekend is right around the corner, and we're gonna see, because, like I said, this trade can make or break Dallas, man. In terms of how far they do go in these Western Conference playoffs. I just hope and take a look. I gotta look at the seedings also, because I think the last time I was able to look at it was like about 24-20, maybe in the 8th spot, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm gonna go back and check out the standings, man, and see where we are, because I know we had a lot of stuff we've been covering in the NFL, which we're gonna be covering, giving our picks out later on the show. But for right now, we're gonna segue still over into the NFL, because we're gonna talk about these hires. Now, let me preface this by saying, for those of y'all who are listening out there, if y'all want to come in chat, I got to bring something up that happened on the show on Monday, because my guys was trying to correct me, and that was all on me, because like I tell them, sometimes I can't hear them when I'm actually talking. So I knew to say Cooper Kupp, and every time they was making my correction, I was saying Cooper Rush. So imagine when I went back and looked at it, I said, oh my goodness, man. So again, they don't owe me no push-ups. That was on me. But at the same time, y'all know, y'all give me a little mercy, man. God dang. Especially when TJ started talking about he said Cooper Kupp. I come back and say Cooper Rush once again. I said, oh my goodness.
I just say forget it, man. I said don't worry.
I jacked that up. I jacked it up. And the crazy thing, I sat here and had Cooper Kupp's numbers and information right at my disposal. So, but again, that's when you have a lot going on.
That's that cowboy brain, man. Y'all got cowboy brains.
I know, man. I guess that's what it was, DA. I guess that's what it was. But look here, guys. Y'all know. Let me preface this by saying, y'all know I've been on this this soldier horse, talking about these Dallas Cowboys since they've been since they inaugurated back in 1960, and wearing this moniker that that was bestowed upon them in the 70s on NFL film, that they was America's team, and that they should be setting the standard as it relates to hiring African American coaches. We're talking about coordinators. I'm not talking about assistant coaches and stuff, running back coaches and wide receiver coaches. They've done that. We're talking about the coaches that provide you with the opportunity to become a head coach, assistant head coach, defensive coordinators, offensive coordinators. Well, I was kind of a little bit, how can I say, I was inflated until Tim gave me some news before we went on air and they just deflated me all over again because they said that the Dallas Cowboys has hired former defensive back and defensive coordinator coach Mike Zimmerman, and he was the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, as we know. So they went and got a guy who who's been in the organization before. I mean, ran the 4-3. I mean, knows defense. He had him in our top 5 defense and so forth. But we've seen this before. We've seen this before. And I was a little bit, to be honest with you, excited from the mere fact that they was actually interviewed today. One of the coaches, I think his name was Marquand Manuel. Yeah. And he was scheduled today. He used to coach the Atlanta Falcons. I have his little resume here. He coached the Atlanta Falcons. He was the defensive coordinator for them in 2017 and 2018. He played for McCarthy back in 2006. And he was an assistant coach with the Seattle Seahawks, as well as the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's this past season, he coached the safeties for the New York Jets. African-American brother, right? African-American brother. The Cowboys brought him in today for an interview. There he is right there, guys. And I just got a funny feeling. I just have a funny feeling, that they must have heard me speaking on the replay. I'm gonna give us some credit, y'all. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just putting that out there. But I'm saying I've been on social media talking about this, man. How can a team that call themselves the America's team, and yet you don't set the standard for all the other 31 teams in the NFL by going out and hiring an African American coach, man, to coach to become the defensive coordinator? And we ain't gonna even talk about in years past when they did that little when the Rooney Rule was first initiated. They brought in Sherman, what I think his name, Sherman Lewis, Coach Sherman Lewis, he's from the Green Bay Packers, brought him in and just gave him this little I call it a water cooler type interview, like two guys speaking at the water cooler.
Yeah,
you know, just to kind of gloss over it. But you bring this guy in today, right, Coach Manuel, just to make it look good, because all along you got Mike Zimmer in another room waiting to make the see. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about, guys. This is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. This is just a it's a patsy. It's a patsy. You knew that you wasn't going to hire this brother, man, when you brought him in, but just to make it look good. And then you want to go back and get Mike Zimmer. I wasn't hiring any of these guys. Rex Ryan, Mike Zimmerman, Ron Rivera. I wouldn't hire any of those guys. They've had their chance. They've had their opportunities. But you brought a young brother in like Coach Manuel, Marquand Manuel, as a patsy interview, just to be able to say, hey, we talked to him. So guys, this is the very thing that we discussed the other day, but I was gonna get back on it regardless. And then when Tim told me before we came on the show that the Dallas Cowboys have rehired Mike Zimmer again, I was just deflated, bro. I was just deflated. So Tim, I'll come to you on this first, man, and get your insights on it.
Yeah, I would say this: it's good to be interviewed, regardless of whether it's for just appearances or not. And they interviewed more than one. So they interviewed Al Harris and they interviewed him as well. I think it's one other guy as well. So it's good to be interviewed because at least in that, you're familiar with the guy. So we want to be in the room. We want to get in the room and have people familiar with us, having conversation. So we then thought of, because not only does it affect you then, it affects you with other people. Because one thing about it, when you interview, it gives you the opportunity for other people to say, okay, he interviewed for the Dallas Cowboy job, right? And I would tell you that most people would see the fit for Zimmer because of how Zimmer has played San Francisco coaches that whole tree, as he's played the whole tree that came through. So he's played that tree really well. And he's been really good defensively against that tree. So with that, I can see why they was going. I already knew they was going to hire him once I did some research on how he did against San Francisco head coach and a few other, that whole little trio as well. And I looked at it and he was like, okay, they're going to hire him because he run the 4-3 and he's done well against that tree. Yeah. Zimmer is over. And DA I think felt the same way. I'll let him speak on it for itself though. So I think for us though, at least getting in the room, because we used to even getting in the room, man. They wouldn't even let us in the room. So now we got two in the room. We get an interview, we get the chance to grow, and hopefully coming in, that's their growth. They see him as a part of the team in the future or something like that. Or Al at the center. I think he may get passing coordinator. Al Harris may get the passing coordinator. And if we get a chance of that, they give him a chance next to move to being a defensive coordinator. Al Harris.
DA, before you go, hold on just a second. I want to ask Tim this question because I hear when he say that, we're in the room, as if that's some type of consolation, right? And my thing is simply this. If I asked you if you worked a 12-hour day shift and you was married and you came home and there was nothing in the kitchen that you were smelling to eat, and she tell you, hey, fix you a sandwich, would you be cool with that after coming home working a 12-hour shift? And my point in saying that is because as a man, we are we're past the millennium right now. 2024, we're still talking about being in the room. Right. The day of being in the room, I'm reminded of Bishop Desmond Tutu when he said, I don't want the crumbs. Don't toss me crumbs and then call it a meal. I'm not satisfied with that analogy because I wanted to give a big shout out. Well, I'll wait till DA finish saying what he has to say because we at a point now. It's kind of like in the words of my man Tupac. He said this years ago when he was talking about we were singing and asking in the 60s. He said, he was beating real slow. He said, we hungry. He said, you give a man, okay, we hungry. We telling you we hungry. Then when the 70s and the 80s move in, the beat get a little bit louder. We hungry. Open up. We want something to eat. We hungry. Open up. He said, now about the 2000 come around, we blasting through the door. You see what I'm saying? Because we've been asking in the 60s for these things. I'm simply saying the days of just, being okay and sitting in somebody's room because I was there because they called my name up. When I see guys that are getting hired, like the McDonald's of the world, who left, like I say again, the Baltimore Ravens and got the head coaching job, not another defensive coordinating position, but the head coaching job. We've seen this far too many times, man. And specifically talking about the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not talking about the other 31 teams at the moment. I'm specifically talking about so-called America's team. Why are they not setting the standard? D, I'm gonna come to you because I have something else I want to say. But
hold on before you come to him. Let me address that real quick. The reason why I said in the room because I didn't see a hire because of the skill level of Zimmer versus any other person you talk about. I don't care if he's white or black. When I looked at the skill level and the skills that Zimmer has for what they're trying to do and what I see the team wants to do, then I saw that actually they was go hire Zimmer because there's nobody out there that actually has shown it at the time. Now, other people may have that, but they have to show it. And so they already have results. They trying to do something fast. You're talking about a one-year coach, right? He's a dead horse. So somebody has a lot of confidence to come work for a coach when actually he only have 1 year left. I'm talking about the head coach. McCarthy only got 1 year on his contract. And so when I saw the tea leaves is what I'm saying. And the reason why I gave that information is not because of what you said, because I do agree with you. We're tired of being in the room, but we need to get in the room in order to actually be hired, right? And then the second part is this. Dallas had already, like you said before, you said it, Dallas was already ready to hire Zimmer. They saw that, but they wanted to see what else was out there as well. So to me, they went and looked at other people and made their decision on what they felt they needed and what was best for them. This particular instance, I won't say it's long-term best for them, but short-term, I think it is.
Well, I'm not going. I'll come back behind DA because I want to get DA in here right quick to give his providers insights to this too, because I still have something to say on that subject. But go ahead, DA.
I agree with Jabril only because we're talking about the Cowboys. The in the room means nothing in this situation. It should have meant something a decade ago, being in the room, and we're talking about Cowboys and
exactly.
Still saying in the room. There's no such thing as giving them a pass because it's just evident. Like we can just. I mean, it's easier for me to see because I ain't a fan of them anyway. I ain't a Jerry Jones fan. You know, I mean, as a person, he seemed like a cool dude, but as an owner and a president, GM, with however many titles he has, he still got that in the back of his mind. He's got that good old boy mentality. So when the first day I heard Zimmer, I was like, that's the coach. That's your next coach right there. That recycling, good old boy. Yeah, I mean, I agree with Tim when he says, you know, he has the scheme and he does this and he does that. But to just keep recycling that same old, while other teams are saying, a lot of other teams are saying, man, we're going to get innovative. We're going to give these young guys, you know, a chance. We're going to give these up and coming, you know, whether they're white or black. We're going to, you can see the coaching age level get going younger and younger. And the Cowboys don't seem to want to. I don't think Jerry is ready to do that, especially with a brother. And if you ask me, if I was a brother, I wouldn't even want to be a coordinator for the Cowboys coming in right now. Because if you come in now, you out by next year. Or even if they see that, hey, we're not gonna go to the Super Bowl next year, and if they ever decide to say we're gonna break this team down and we're gonna rebuild. If they ever decide to rebuild, and if they brought in an African American coach to rebuild, you can rest assured when it's time to collect on those picks, when that salary cap opens up where you can get anybody you want, and your picks are coming to term, they'll do just like the Miami Dolphins. They'll get rid of the black interim coach, so another coach can come in and reap the benefits of the rebuild. If a black coordinator or any kind of coach comes in for the rebuild, he's not going to be there to see the harvest.
Leave Tony Dungy alone.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, Tim. I certainly understand where you're coming from, because if we fast track this thing, we're talking about a system that that they're familiar with in terms of the history of what the Dallas Cowboys have ran in past defenses. So I understand it. And then you're talking about a veteran coach who can help accelerate that to the point to where they're trying to go right now. And Mike McCarthy had to look at all of that in terms of he is pretty much on a 1-year deal and everybody can feel it. But at the same time, I sit and I look at this situation when they're vetting the process of going out hiring a defensive coordinator. If Coach Manuel, other than the fact that he's been a DC before, he's coached as assistant coaches, he's coached the teams that I've mentioned before. He knows the NFC East because he coached the Philadelphia Eagles before. And when you look at his pedigree and what he brings to the table, it seems like you could say, well, maybe he's probably 2 years away if he's going to implement the type of players or the defense or the scheme or whatever the case may be. But we're trying to win next year. But my thing is simply this: where was this same attitude and disposition when they hired Kellen Moore? When Kellen Moore was basically was on the practice squad. You see what I'm saying? They didn't say that then. They didn't say, well, let's go out there and get a veteran offensive coordinator, because we're trying to win right now. He was basically bagging up, holding the clipboard, man, for Dak Prescott now. See, we want to move the goalposts when it comes to us. This is the problem that I have, man, with the Dallas Cowboys organization. And we keep making excuses for these jokers. Why? Because they so-called America's team? No. It don't work that way, man, because we're taxpayer paying individuals too. I'm speaking about the African American community, because nobody says anything. And it's funny because I was really surprised. I just saw this today when I saw Coach Manuel's name come up, that he was coming in today. But see how because leading up to it, we didn't hear nothing about an African American coach tied to the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator job. Every talk show that I heard, I listened to in the morning, in the afternoon, late afternoons, all had these veteran defensive coordinators who happen to be white coaches tied to that position. And herein lies the problem with this organization. I got to give a big shout out, man, to an organization like the Baltimore Ravens. Again, Baltimore Even when they had former GM Ozzie Newsome, man. One thing I loved about Ozzie Newsome was Ozzie went in and put the best qualified people in those positions. You know, and so for them to turn around and I would have, if I didn't have any someone else in mind as far as giving my shout outs in the end, I'll shout this guy right here, because this individual right here, John Harbaugh, not only do he lose his McDonald, but he goes and hire Zach Orr. Zach Orr. And for those of y'all who don't know Zach Orr is actually from DeSoto High School. He's from DeSoto High School. He played his college ball at North Texas State University as a linebacker and went undrafted in 2014 and made it with the Baltimore Ravens. He had a short career because he had a congenital spine condition that caused him to give up his playing career. But he fast-tracked and he accelerated, man, in the coaching field, man. And someone like John Harbaugh looked at remember when he was such a quick learner on the field and he was able to line up everybody on the defense, you know, when he was playing with the Baltimore Ravens, and his pedigree as a student of the game, you know. And here's a guy, man, who's getting his opportunity as a defensive coordinator who just happened to be African American. I mean, that's the bonus, yeah. But we talk about, I'm not into just giving positions to people just to be giving people positions. And we talked about that on Monday. I'm not into that. But I'm simply saying these individuals like a Zach Orr, man, deserve opportunities like the rest of these other young white coaches who eventually become head coaches. And let me bring Tim back to say, and they become head coaches. And without people giving them those opportunities and you know, providing them with that opportunity, man, we won't have them in the positions that they desire to be in, like the Brian Floreses. I keep bringing it up, the Brian Floreses of the world. You know, I think that was just so disheartening, man, for him to get a call from Bill Belichick thinking that he was the other Brian Dable or whatever the case may be, after he interviewed when the job was already going to Brian Dable, and Bill Belichick just happened to make a mistake and call the wrong Brian to congratulate him. And the man was just shocked, like, oh, this was just a formality. So, you know, we're long past those things, man. But big shout out to Zach Orr. He got his opportunity, man. They brought him in, they interviewed, they vetted the process, and they wind up hiring this brother, man, as defensive coordinator, while McDonald went on and became head coach with the Seattle Seahawks. But again, as far as the Dallas Cowboys, man, y'all making it really difficult for a cat like me, man, to keep riding with y'all. I mean, this ain't personal, like they say. If it's business, then let it be business. Tell the fans that, because ain't nobody saying it, man. We just keep taking this, man, day in and day out, man. But go ahead, TJ. I think you want to speak to that too.
Well, actually, you know, both you and DA, actually, my personal feelings, I agree with both of you. Now, what I'm speaking to is what I knew they was going to do for his hiring process. I knew what they was looking at, I knew what they was looking for, and I knew they would hire. But for as vetting the process, the guy who actually did exactly what you're talking about would be Al Harris. He has the same situation where actually he hadn't been a defense coordinator before, and he would have been coaching the secondary and looking at the defense, and then would have moved straight to defensive coordinator. That would have been the same projection, but it didn't happen. A lot of time it don't happen for us like that, right? We got to go make all these steps in order to build this resume in order to happen, which is something DA spoke about before too, right? We have to build this resume in order to get hired and all this kind of stuff. Whereas others are doing them, you know, how astute they are. Because you know when you see a man, because like when you interview people, you know sometimes some people need to be skipped ahead because they're so genius, have such a great mind. I never interviewed Al Harris, so I don't know exactly, you know, how he conveyed and how he did. Right. I just want to make sure he was in the room. So I'm not interviewing the guys. I would love to see that actually hire a guy. They saw the genius in someone. Actually, this team hasn't done that yet. Not one time. Not with anybody of our skin tone. So they haven't done that yet. So I'm totally agreeing with you. They hadn't been their mode to operate them. Winners, I don't know. But I did know what they was going to do. I knew exactly what they was going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I'm honest with myself, I mean, it's writing on the walls. You can see it. You can certainly see it. It's not like I'm floored that I'm surprised or I've been mystified in the hiring of Mike Zimmer. I mean, you can see the writing on the wall because once you bring him back into the room, and if you ask me, they probably would have did it some years ago had he not still been the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. But we've seen this story before, man. And I'll be honest with you, if I just didn't want to, deal with the Rex Ryans of the world, I would have said, man, bringing somebody. I'd rather see Rex, man, than Mike Zimmer for the simple fact that he's never coached with the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know why I'm saying that because but again, it's just, man, it's really frustrating. But I will say this: that I guess my only consolation in all of this, TJ, is that they did deny Washington Commanders, man, to interview with the Washington Commanders. They was denied to interview with Al Harris, so I was glad about that. Along with the tight ends coach, I think the tight end coach was Orr.
You were glad about that?
Yeah, well, I was glad that they denied Washington, that opportunity to interview with him simply because I'm still hopeful. You know what I'm saying? Call me. I'm still hopeful, DA. I'm still hopeful, man, that this would that this would be raised. I wish I could run into I know a friend of mine that knows Calvin Watkins, man, who covers the Dallas Cowboys. And I matter of fact, Jerome, he's frat brothers with Clarence Hill, who write for the Dallas Fort Worth Star Telegram, and I've seen him at a couple of events. And I said the next time I run into him or Calvin, I'm gonna ask him, man, why don't you guys ever ask, Stephen Jones or Jerry Jones or whenever at these podiums, man, why come y'all haven't hired an African American? Not just last year, not just 10 years ago, in the history of this franchise, man. Granted, you all took over in 1989, but if you ask me, I think that's when the candidates was really coming through the ring because you had people like Mike Gordon, he did his job. You had the people like Ray Rose, other individuals that we already named prior, Tony Dungy, and the list go on and on, Leslie Frazier. So I'm saying you guys have never, took the time out, man, to say, you know what, let's change course. You even made this man Dave Campo, bruh. Dave Campo, who started as a defensive back coach, then defensive coordinator, and elevated this man to a freaking head coaching job, man, within the organization. So, yeah, DA, we definitely concur. And I know Tim see that way too. The days of just being happy, man, with how you like some pat on the head or something like that. Get along, little boy. We're grown freaking mans, man. And if I was in the media, I don't care if you want, hey, man, he can't cover the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, I go cover the Dallas Mavericks. Because at least I know Mark Cuban hired a couple of African-American head coaches. A couple of them. Yeah, I go ahead and be the beat writer for the Dallas Mavericks, man. Because I can't sit by and allow this situation to continue to take place over and over and over again. And it just goes like unnoticed. Nobody says anything, man. Nobody was saying anything. So I'm telling you, Tim, I was surprised today when I was reading social media and I saw what the Cowboys bringing in. Okay, I felt a little inflated. And then all of a sudden, right before we go on the air, you say, well, man, the Cowboys hired Mike Zimmer. Yeah, I mean, people saw it on the wall, but I was still leaving out hope, man, that these people would make would do the right thing. America's team. But anyway, DA, I think you was kind of happy that you wish that the Commanders would have hired. I mean, like the interview with yeah, man, but I don't know.
Well, he's the same position, so he wasn't gonna get elevated. The only thing he could have got elevated, he would have been the pass coordinator probably for Washington. I think they're gonna give him the same job.
I was just wanting him to get from under this Dallas umbrella so he could flourish. That's all I was saying. I wish he could have. You know what I'm saying? Go somewhere else and then watch your career take off. You come here, you're a brother. It's you have no, like, your ceiling is low. It's like right above your head. It's right here.
I don't think so in this situation with Al Harris. I do understand the past, but we're speaking about Al Harris. So I'm gonna speak what I think about him. I think with time with Al Harris is gonna be a defensive coordinator. And if he has expiration, that's up to him though, because I don't know his expiration. I don't know him personally. He can be a head coach from what I've seen for his leadership in a little bubble that we've seen of him, right? So I think he has the opportunity, whether it's here or not. It don't necessarily have to be here. And so, but I think here he'll have some growth because his secondary is doing very well, especially the corner, because he coached the corners. He didn't actually coach the safeties, right? So he actually coached the corners. He didn't even coach the safeties this year. He coached the corners. So him being pass game, I mean, he'll be over the whole secondary probably this year. He has more responsibility. And so with that, he'll probably be the passing game coordinator. So he'll then start making the calls. He didn't make the calls as a corner coach. As a safety coach, you got to make calls and all that kind of stuff. That's another level. So he's smart enough to know how to do it. Of course, I know he will do well at it. But I'm just saying that that's another level for him. And as he keeps showing that and putting them in better position, unlike what happened with this year, what happened in that last game in the playoffs, them secondary calls and stuff they did was atrocious. So just him doing that is going to change that team a lot, because I know he's sitting up there. He ain't going to put that team as a secondary who played it, ain't going to put them in a position like they did playing some zone when they don't know how to play the zone.
Right.
He won't do that.
Well, we're in on this note regarding the coaches and Mike Zimmer and the Dallas Cowboys, their decision to go with Mike Zimmer. I'll just say, in the case of Al Harris, hopefully he get that opportunity. Hopefully they even elevate him to assistant defensive coordinator or whatever title that's necessary, in hopes that maybe Mike Zimmer is a one-time stay, and they elevate him. Hopefully. But that's wishful thinking. We shall see. So, guys, I want to hurry up and transition to our segment here on the African American History Month with the cultural segment, and talk about something that I had a chance to visit after watching something that was on Fox News regarding the question of chivalry. The question of chivalry. And that question is simply, is chivalry dead? Is chivalry dead? And if so, can it be revived? That's something to think about for just a second. But before I'm going to come to you first, Deb, but before we do that, I want to play y'all a little something here.
Ladies, has anything like this ever happened to you? Watch.
It's open. It's open.
I don't go on dates with guys who don't open the door for me.
Really?
Really?
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, man.
No, he didn't.
Well, according to a recent survey by Match.com, 73% of women believe that chivalry is dead. And according to one of our next guests, she explains in her new op-ed, it's because women killed it. Suzanne Benker is a columnist and an author of The Alpha Female's Guide to Men in Marriage.
Okay. So the question is, again, is chivalry dead? And if so, can it be revived, DA? So I'm going to come to you first. Can it be revived if it's dead, DA?
I mean, I don't know if it's dead, but it's in hospice. If it's not dead, it's definitely in hospice. Man, it's just the world is just so different. You know, it's just a different. Everybody just looks at everything differently. Like our age group, maybe it's not. You know, maybe it's some things like when you see social media post or some like that clip, you kind of realize, yeah, you still gotta do these things. You know what I'm saying? It's reminding you that you still have to do those type things. But then that just probably a generation under us, they may be just a little bit to where they ain't even thinking about chivalry, because the women don't even require it. You know, our young generation don't even require chivalry. Like a lot of the females or
But why is that, DA? They don't require it. They don't expect it. Do they want it and just don't expect it? Why do you think that is?
It's a different set of, like, they haven't seen what maybe the ladies of our generation have seen, like women being treated like women. I mean, what they see and what they idolize, they idolize women rapping and women fighting and women calling each other the B word and women calling each other bro. And you know, it's just a whole different atmosphere for this younger generation. So they ain't even interested in chivalry. You know, you got young ladies now saying a man is sassy because he cooks, or a man he's sassy because I heard him singing a love song, or he opened the door for this lady. He weak. You know, that's the kind of mentality we have
Right.
coming behind
Right.
us. So it's like, and the younger guys are like, what's she gonna call me lame if I, if I offer to give her my jacket or something or open a door? It's just crazy now. So I don't think it's I don't think it's dead as far as our generation, our age. If there's a brother who's close to our age who realized he wasn't chivalrous, he may say, man, I need to be a little more chivalrous. But as far as that generation coming behind us or the generation or two, they've already killed it. It'll never, if
There's
we
no.
may get another decade or so from our generation, but after that, it's gone.
You said
It's
they
out
won't
the
get
door.
up off the ground. They can't. They won't resurrect it. Tim,
It's
before I
over.
come, I, I want to say this in regards to chivalry and this generation anyway, like you said. But giving a little bit of backdrop anyway, the history of chivalry because it was really started somewhere around the medieval times and over in Europe, and it had to do with the knights and the knights, as they say, the knights in shining armor when they saw the women and damsel in distress, and they would go and rescue the women and so forth. So this was more of a code of conduct. Chivalry was more of a code of conduct. And so now when you fast forward to 2000, 2024, it is a lost uh code of conduct because I think somewhere when we kind of heard about it and picked it up, the whole premise was leading to romance, right? And so when you think about it in that context, it was like we did these things to satisfy that code of conduct or what women perceived and what they thought a man should do in terms of opening up the door, um, putting out her chair, these type of things. So it was a code of conduct, but it led to romance. So I
Yeah.
think somewhere we can tie that in too, as far as the romance aspect of it, because you really don't even see that. And it's good that we kind of talking about it because we own the tail the cups of Valentine's Day if you engaged in all of that, with the flowers and the candy and the dinner and all this other stuff, TJ. So I'm gonna come to you on that right there. I have a little bit more to share about it, but I'll come to you about that and help facilitate this conversation regarding
Well,
is chivalry dead? If so, can it be revived?
well, that's a perfect segue. You think about what is it about. Remember, women, the thing they want more than anything else is protection, right? And that code of conduct was really for protection. You walk on the left side of a woman, she's on your right. So when you're walking down the street, so you protect her against people passing by because they're passing by on your left side, right?
To the side.
Yeah. So
Right,
you move her to the inside, right?
right.
And so then also when you when you when you pull out a chair, you pull out the chair that actually where you can face where people are coming through the door. So you put her in the chair. So it wasn't just for you to put it in the chair, but just pulling out the chair to be courteous with that it was also so you can make sure you sit where you can actually protect her so you can see the door, right? So you know what's coming up. You're protecting the woman again, right? We open the door, so we actually protect her in going through the door. We open the door for her as courtesy, but also make sure nobody bumps into her while she's walking through that door. Now, it's so funny with the new generation. I know they say the young men are saying, why even do chivalry? Why are we doing this at all, right? Because, women are filing for divorce, right? They say they don't need a man. They're giving all the reasons why we shouldn't appreciate it. They say, okay, don't make your plate no more, right? They say you can make your own plate. And then I don't need your money, is what they say, but can you pay for my rent, dinner, buy me diamonds, and a Birkin bag, right? So
In that
they want all
probably
this.
in order too.
Right. They don't need all the other stuff. They don't need you, but they want you to buy all the stuff. They telling you what restaurants we should go to, what restaurant we shouldn't go to, right?
Right.
So this is a new generation. I really don't see that in mind. It's funny, the people that I come in contact with, that's not their energy, right?
Right.
So I don't really care even if I ran into someone with that energy, I really don't care because it ain't about them. I was raised that way. It's courteous, it's nice, and it's what, to me, is what we do as a fellow man. That's what we do. We protect our women. We lift our women up. We guide them, regardless of whether they understand it. But I will say this. With all these women raising men, how can men learn how to be chivalrous anyway, because they don't even know how to learn, because women don't know it. All
They
they know
don't
about the
know it,
open
and they're
door
not.
part, the open doors. That's all they know about. They don't know about
Yeah,
the other parts.
yeah. But man, well, you know what? Before I say anything, let's listen to another piece of this conversation, and I want you all to pay close attention to the white lady and the sister on the opposite side, not the one in the middle, but to the left and to the right. And look at the sister's expression. She's really being schooled by this sister. But watch this, y'all.
Women?
I wouldn't go as far as to say that women kill chivalry. Whether you look at from Cardi B to Beyonce or working moms like myself or even countless others, what we have done is we have evolved the conversation of what it means to be a woman in today's society. And what that means is, we're doing it all. And it basically means that men have to basically rise to the occasion to meet us where we are. We are not, the mothers of our past, and there was nothing wrong with that. But we are getting our arms involved in a lot of things, and we're busy doing and juggling millions of things. So chivalry is not dead in the essence of we don't want men to open doors for us. But what we are saying is, you have to handle us, and you have to handle our full-time job as well.
Yeah.
Okay, give me just a second. I want to bring her response to what she said.
She's smiling too. You see that smile she got on her face?
Yo, because one of the things that kind of jumped out, even though she tried to fix that up, she was saying we're not the mothers or the women of our past, which I think that's part of it, because when they look at the mothers of old, so to speak, they see them as being dinosaur or antiquated, and herein lies a problem, because you can learn a lot from the people of the past, but she was saying it more so like it has evolved to a really a sense or a place where, with all this independency, this hashtag Me Too, guys have became desensitized to chivalry, because they saying, well, you want to do it all, you think you know it all, so what do you need me for? It's almost, if you're not careful and you really listen, especially to these so-called alpha, let me really put that in inverted commas, these alpha male females who got the great careers or the great jobs, if you listen to them real carefully, it's as if they pretty much on the cups of saying, we don't really need a man. Now that's not all women. It's just a certain type of woman. She fits this kind of mold. I'm hoping this is it right here. Let's see what the response to what she stated.
You make a good point in this op-ed, Suzanne. You talk about how it's not that we can't open our own doors. It's not that we can't pay for our own food, but you say that does it show a sign of respect, or like why is it important to let a woman do those things?
Right. So what's been lost in this whole 40-year experiment, really, or progress, however you want to define it, is the yin and yang, or the dance between women and men. And men and women now are completely confused and lost about who's supposed to do what, who wants what, and what women specifically are confused about is men, and how it is in their DNA to provide and protect women. That is who they are. That is their identity. And we've essentially ripped it out of them. And when they become unmoored. I mean, if you don't let them do what's in them to do, you're going to disrupt that dance. And so what I'm trying to say is, look, masculinity and femininity are wonderful things in and of themselves. And when they work in tandem, sparks fly. I mean, it's awesome, but we're not allowing that to happen because we are infused with this message about equality.
Look at that disposition.
This idea that men and women are the same when they are not. And so that gesture of holding the door open, I was just using as one example, is not men trying to oppress women. It's they want to please them. They want to take care of them. They want to show them honor, really. And we knew this in the past. Everybody knew this, and this has gotten completely lost in the last 40 years. You can see that in that telegram, how deeply that was felt and understood. And women today want that. You read that telegram, who would not want that, right? Yeah, but how are we going to get there if I mean, it's just, we've got to get back to understanding.
You see her face
Wendy,
expression?
do you think if we're all, I've heard it said that we are created the same. I mean, we are both equally as important, but created differently in our needs and our wants. Right. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that to some extent, and as a wife and as a mother of 2 little boys, I believe that the strength of a woman is also what makes men respect us even more. We are not necessarily
Wait, I'm sorry. She's married with 2 children, with 2 boys, with this ideology, with this mindset. I don't know her personal life or anything like that, and I'm not speaking to that. She just brought it in, but what man would want their sons raised with this ideal? And of course, she agrees in part, but they can never agree. There's always the need to be right. She can't concede to the point, and obviously, she's supposed to be on there as a counterpoint, so she can never concede. But she sees the logic in what this woman's saying. Anyone of sound of any type of mind can see that what Suzanne is saying is 100% right. But again, a lot of these modern or woke women, they can never concede the point. They can never be wrong. They can never say, oh, that's a good idea. They have to somehow prove that they're right, regardless of how foolish and how errant their point is.
End quote. So, guys, there you have it, right? I had another one, but I don't necessarily have to bring that one. I think we get the point. And that's why I put I moved the camera over to the sister, because as the white lady was talking, you could see her, she was already in disagreement with what she was saying. Because it's one of those dispositions, man, these predisposed dispositions where, like the lady, other lady that was speaking, she was saying it's already in you. It's kind of like it's ingratiating you, where you just really got to have this independency where, I don't need a man opening doors for me. Because for some of them, as crazy as it may sound, it shows a certain weakness, as if they're weak by allowing a man to do these things, for them. And this is the issue, DA. So I'm gonna come to you on that, DA, before we wrap this segment up.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't, but it wouldn't at all make them look weak, because we're in a time where men are looking for feminine women. It's like they're becoming few and far between. So for a woman to be feminine or allow a man to do these chivalrous things, you gain your strength back. So to think that's weakness, that's backwards. That's totally backwards thinking, which is pretty much what we do now. But like I was saying earlier, we only have there's only a small window of chivalry left, because what's coming down the pipeline is not going to that's not even going to be a part of the vocabulary in our society in about 20 years. Nobody's going to be talking about chivalry. Trust me. So
That's
what you
sad.
think, TJ?
That's sad when you think about that. A conversation and listening to that as well hit me with an epiphany. I speak on how we got to make sure we raise our men. We talk about that all the time, how we got to raise our young men up and, show them what they need to do. But, I was thinking about this. I'm like, man, because we already know a lot of women are failing our sons because they don't even have a man for them to mentor, and then they don't know what to tell, how to raise a man, right? So the other part is this. We got to make sure we don't fail our daughters, because, man, just think about all the daughters out there, man. We men may have to come up and have a conversation about, we may have the new circle. I don't think we have one about teaching women what it's like to be feminine from a man's point of view. Wow. I don't think that's been taught. I think we need to do something about that. I think we need to create something for women to come in and teach our young women, not these older ones, because they already set in their mind, right? Shape these young ones to understand what it means. They can still be someone who economically go for success. We're not talking about that. See, they're confusing those two things. We're talking about being feminine. That's totally different from what they misconstruing those things. You can be masculine, we would say masculine in the workplace, but you need to be feminine with your man, and you need to allow him to be a man like he's supposed to. And they need to understand what those roles are. We need to get in the community and hit these young women like this.
Well, I'll say this, TJ, and to your point, man, I think you're absolutely correct. And what's so crazy, I don't know if y'all remember this on social media or not, but there was a guy. Well, I saw it twice. It was two brothers. One was telling the mother of his child, who was a little girl, "Don't put my daughter on a man's lap."
Right.
He was going back and forth with him about that. He was serious about that. Don't put my
no man,
a relative or what. Don't put my daughter on a man's lap. That was one that I saw, and there was another one where I saw where a guy came in and saw his daughter twerking. I think she was like about 4, maybe 6 years old, or whatever it was, and he got dead on her butt and popped on her backside. And the mother had a problem with it. The mother had a problem with it, and this is the confused state as she was talking about that the male and the female roles being confused. It's only confused because definitively they have no longer been defined when in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, and the 70s, and even in the 80s. These roles was defined. I knew DA's mother and father personally,
Mm-hmm.
and his dad was a man of mans. He was a
Mm-hmm.
matriarch in our community. You understand? It wasn't no, you know, here and here, and he had respect and everything, but Mr. Alexander was Mr. Alexander, and we respected him from the top of the street to the end of the street
Mm-hmm.
and around the block. You knew who
Yep.
Mr. Alexander was. So we have to have these kind of men back into the community because herein lies the problem. And these mothers need to get out of the way because if we have to parent the daughter and the son, then we have the capabilities and the ability to do that too. Because for you to sit back and have a problem with the father of your child because he's in disagree when her natural makeup is out of order, when she needs to have a behavioral adjustment, and you take issue with that, knowing she's twerking, like y'all probably saw, several young ladies, man, they had the microphones and they were singing this rap
Yep.
song, this
Yep.
sexy red song,
Horrible.
and all this other stuff
Horrible.
and foolishness that was going on. I think that was just, I'm glad, man, we have conversations like this in a time in which we need to have them in such a month that we need to have them, like in African American History Month. That's why we talk about these things. That's why I wanted to raise this question in regards to the chivalry aspect of it, because I do think, um, and usually I always have a little bit of pushback if DA said if he's saying that I don't see it ever coming back, because I guess I'm the forever hopeful person trying to be optimistic
Yep.
about it, because you want to see it, you don't want to see it go away like that, without at least without a fight. But if we don't turn the car around and start trying to search some of these things and raise these questions up, man, based on what DA has seen and based on what I've seen and based on what you've seen, TJ, it is going to be a thing of the past. They looking at, you know, what are y'all talking about, chivalry, opening the door? What are y'all talking about? That is going to be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
And really,
Mm-hmm.
truthfully, it is now. Because you don't hear people, man, having these kind of conversations. They're just not having these kind of conversations. So for us to be able to bring it up and talk about it on the replay, doing again African American History Month, is chivalry dead? And if not, can it be revived? I think it's very, very, very important, man, because if the mothers are not going to do it, Tim, DA, then in the words of the late great Kobe Bryant when he said, "I'm a girl's dad," then it's going to be time for guys to step it up, man, and say, you know what? Because I'm not going to let my daughter name become a
Synonymous.
spectacle on somebody's bathroom door or in somebody's phone, or she got this nickname behind her that we have no idea about, no clue about. We have to step in, have these real tough conversations with our daughter, man, as they begin to grow and maturate up. My daughter, my only daughter, man, by the grace of God, she'll be 25 this Saturday, and we've always had conversations, man, about from you name it to where she's are today. And we have our jovial moments and we laugh about certain things, but she know when I hit my serious points in life, man, and I look her dead in the eyes and I'm critical. This is critical thinking now,
Mm-hmm.
because it's time to quit playing around and make sure that you have a grasp of your child, because if you don't, man, the world is gonna raise them and they're
Yep.
gonna give them philosophy that you and I don't even know what that is. We don't even know how to even look at some of the stuff that's being said. So yes, we got to have these talks and these conversations, regarding this. So on that note, guys, we got only one last segment left, man. I don't want to keep us too long. We're gonna bury this last segment, but that we had to cover that, man, talking about chivalry, and we'll continue this in this African American History Month. But last but not least, this is the final. This is the final day, man. We get a chance to make our picks for Sunday's game between the NFC champions, San Francisco 49ers. Boo. No, I'm just with DA. And of course, the AFC champions, man, Kansas City Chiefs. This is the moment that we've all had to come to, man, giving our picks, man. And I'm gonna start with I'm gonna do the honors of letting DA go last. So I'll just start with me and I'll come to Tim. As I was alluding to on Monday, I was saying that this was going to be another tough one for me because you know San Francisco's it could be a little scary because we know what they're capable of when they're hitting on all cylinders. It's all
Right.
about how they start,
Right.
and they really haven't put one together. I don't know if Steve Wilkes conniption that he had the other day against them, if that's going to raise the bar with them. Hopefully at this point, the last game of the season, you leave it out on the field, because should nobody have to tell you at this point to galvanize you to understand what you're playing for.
Right.
So having said that, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I thought about it long and hard. I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm a little sentimental with the 49ers. I have my reason why I don't want to see them win, because again, I don't want them to win 6 Super
Number
Bowls.
6, yeah.
Cowboys, and let's see, 40. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wouldn't mind seeing my youngster Tayshaun Gibson, man. It's been rumored he was going to retire the last couple of years. So if he were to walk out on top with the Super Bowl championship, I ain't mad at that either, man. 'Cause I look forward to seeing him again. It's been such a long time since I've had a chance to see him, and the fact that I coached this little kid in Pop Warner football, man, and put him at free safety. Like I said, he was such an athlete. He played quarterback too for Kimball High School too. But to see him at the free, to stay with the free safety position all these years, man, it just does my heart really, really, really good. So if y'all were to pull it out, DA, I'm not gonna be mad. I tip my hat off, but I'm not gonna go against Patrick Mahomes. So I'm gonna take these Kansas City Chiefs. So I'll come to you, TJ. We're gonna let DA have the honors and go last.
Sounds good to me. You know, it's funny. I almost played for San Francisco 49, as a matter of fact. I went up to their facilities. I met with Roger Craig, who played in Nebraska. So got a chance, and Ronnie Lott was there too. So, and I actually went out with Roger for at the lunch and stuff like that. And we talked and all that kind of stuff. So I almost went there. So I always had affiliation and a love for San Francisco, the organization, because their facilities was great as well too. Like Cowboys facilities. So I was like, wow, because they don't play on their facility as well as far as San Francisco go. So way better than when I went to the at the time Washington. I won't say their nickname, but when I went to Washington, their facility is not as good as neither one of those two, for an example, right? And so it was a good affiliation. And San Francisco has a very good team, offensive and defensive. They got all the different things that they need. Like you said, Jabril, if they're hitting on all cylinders, right? And so they play very well. And Kansas City defense has been the best defense they played. And the key for them, of course, is the receivers catch the ball. So the team I'm going with is the team in red.
Like
I'm going with Kansas City Chiefs. So both teams in red. I just thought I'd throw that in.
I like that. Well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and end the show. But we know what Diego gonna pick, man. Go on and shock us, DA. I just want to hear you shock us, man.
You want me to take Kansas City?
We're gonna do it sweet. You say you was gonna be honest, man. So
yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest. I'm really disappointed in both of y'all right about now, because I thought y'all really knew football. With that being said, I'm gonna tell you why I really think they're gonna win the game. I was just really thinking about it. Like
beating San Francisco, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I was really thinking about it, like really hard. Like, okay, man, remove your heart out of this. Remove your throwback jersey, your love for Montana and Rice, and remove all of that. And tell me why you think they're gonna win. If you think about this year with Kansas City, I don't even know if they've even scored 30 points this year. I don't even know if they've had a 30-point game. I had to think about that. They're not the same team. They win because Mahomes finds a way to win. Not because the team is as good, but because he's magical. But they've got guys who can score on you, and it is Patrick Mahomes. But I just think that they don't have that force of an offense like they used to have. And I think the Niners are gonna capitalize on that. I think they're gonna, they'll let him dink and dunk a little bit, but I don't think he's just gonna come out there and put up 500 yards on them boys. I don't think he has that kind of he doesn't have those kind of background singers, as I say. And I think the defense for Kansas City is pretty good this year, best they ever had, like Tim been saying all year. But I just think the weapons that we have, they're not going to even know where we coming from. I think this is the game where the 49ers okay, they didn't really take that Green Bay start to heart. Like, man, look, we got it done, but you come back the next week and you play even worse the first half. But the way they came out that third quarter, I think is the way they're gonna come out for this entire game. It's like, man, look, we've had our chances. We playing against Patrick Mahomes. You're not gonna get no chance to come back from 14 down. It's a wrap. If they go at 14, it's a wrap. Ain't no coming back. So I think with all of that and the way the defense got to see the film, and say, hey man, we can't win like this. This Super Bowl. It's Patrick Mahomes. This is the real deal. I think we're gonna come out firing that first quarter, and we're gonna put our foot on their necks, and I think we're gonna beat them boys by probably 10 points.
Well, on that note,
Oh, go ahead.
we're gonna leave it right there, TJ. We're gonna leave it right there.
we'll
He
leave
had
it
a lot to say on that, man. I'm not mad at it. Like I said, he made a lot of valid points, and I think that it's gonna get a little bit, it's gonna be real interesting, man. It's gonna be really, really interesting. So we will see. But last but not least, we're gonna get a quick shout out, man, because we got to wrap this segment up. And I'm gonna start first, man, because I want to shout out John Harbaugh for hiring Zach Orr, man, hometown guy, man, gave him an opportunity to become the defensive coordinator, man. So big shout out to John Harbaugh. Who you shouting out, TJ?
Well, I'm shouting out to my Nebraska Cornhuskers. They actually was a top 20 recruiting segment this year. And so they did really well actually bringing in some players. So maybe they on the rise up. They got the number one quarterback in for his recruiting goals, number one quarterback that was in the recruiting cycle this year. And he probably going to start the first year. So that's going to be interesting to see how that develops and how he goes. And he has a lot of ties. So he's an alumni. His father was a really good player with Nebraska. So I'm giving a shout out to them.
Who you shouting out, DA?
Shout out Tommy Allen Rec Center for having us to bring our after school program, basketball mentorship program to their summer league this year.
Big time. Way to go, Tommy Allen Rec. So that's going to conclude another episode here on the replay where we try to make you guys' day. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and share button because we're still growing the channel. That's that like, share, subscribe button. And tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't forget, y'all, we will be doing our first Super Bowl Eve party up at 1540. Over in Duncanville. That is right there, y'all. So if you don't have anything to do, we're going to take you back with DJ Grady on the ones and twos, man. This is going to be a hot night. So wear your jersey, wear your blue jeans, wear your hoodie. We're going to get this thing in and have a really great time, man, social networking. And we hope that people have an opportunity to see people that they hadn't seen in so long. So that's this Saturday, Super Bowl weekend. So, guys, I appreciate y'all coming on with me for another episode of the replay. We're going to be back after Super Bowl, recounting what happened, man. And like I said, man, we shall see. It's going to be a really great game. I truly believe that. But we'll be back here, man, talking about it once again. Either Daryl's going to be a champion or he's going to be sitting here shaking his head wondering, why?
Champion.
Jumping on, man. As I always like to say, man, be safe. And whatever you're doing this weekend, whatever party you're going to, if you're in Las Vegas on that strip, definitely be safe. But above everything else, above all, always keep God first. Thank you for joining us.
Blessings to you all.